because it's not replicating as fast as they would like it to, and that the yields are only about 20% of what the normal yield would be for a virus that they're trying to create. So it's not growing very fast. They can't make very much of it. They only purchased a certain amount of it. So it's all leading to the conclusion, hey, government, hey, CDC, we need to put the MS-59 and the AS03 in there to spread it around so we've got enough for everybody.
Well, Doctor, I've also read studies.
Neither one of them have been tested in children.
Neither one have been tested in children. I've also read that a lot of these chemicals they add to elicit the autoimmune response have been associated with later reproductive problems. And so, of course, they like that because it ends up reducing fertility.
Well, and even the normal regular annual flu shot, by which they're saying that kids who are going to school this fall and if had not had a previous flu shot are supposed to get 4 flu shots before they go.
Oh, my God. I forgot to ask you that. I'm going to try to shut up here, but please go through this because there's thousands of points here. I have a family. You have a family. It's freaking me out as this freight train comes towards us, and somehow we've got to get the public to wake up and say no. That's the big issue here, is that they're saying like a placebo, go get old flu shots that they admit have no connection to this flu, give you no immunity, and people are already lined up at clinics and panicking for 3-4 months straight, getting all these ridiculous shots. And Dr. Obama says you need to take 3 shots. Now they're saying 4 shots. I mean, soon will it be your morning flu shot? Break that down, doctor.
Well, they're saying that the theory is that in order to develop an adequate immune response, you're supposed to get a vaccine followed up by a second vaccine. So if you have children who are 8 or 9 or 10 years old who have not previously had a flu shot of any kind, the recommendations that are coming out is that they'll get the regular flu shot. 3 weeks later, they'll get their booster on their regular annual flu shot. 3 weeks later, they'll get their swine flu shot. And 3 weeks after that, they'll get their booster of their swine flu shot. And then we'll see how many kids can actually function in school this year, as if it isn't already bad enough. And they're recommending that for kids 6 months of age and older. So, the adults are supposed to get 3 flu shots. They're supposed to get their annual seasonal flu shot, a swine flu, and a swine flu booster. But your kids, if they haven't had a previous one, they're supposed to get 4. I just think, it's almost like there's this concept that all that's in there is a little dead virus and a little sterile water, and so what harm is it going to cause? And a little is good, so a whole lot must be better. And what we're doing is causing a massive amount of problems in children and adults, and everybody needs to just get informed about this. Go to pandemicfluonline.com, go to drtenpenny.com, download the information and pass it out to your family and friends. Take it to your school, let the teachers know it, let the people in your daycare know it, put the principals on notice that you're not going to have that happening to your children in your school system. It's the only way that we're going to be able to stop this from all these vaccines happening in schools this year.
And, Doc, that's my next 2 points, is, A, we had big victories in 2002, 2003, when they tried to order the 14 million first responders to take the smallpox shot and said, it's the law, everyone will do it or you'll be fired. Firemen, police, medical workers, nurses, doctors, city workers, county workers, state workers. The majority of them said no, so that program stalled and died. We've had victories before over this, but they've been so successful fear-mongering with the pre-flu hype. They didn't have that with the smallpox. They just used 9/11 saying we just got hit a year ago. We're sure Al-Qaeda is going to use smallpox. People didn't buy that. But people have had the flu and know it really feels bad and know that it can kill you sometimes. So that's why this is so much more effective. That's why this fight is so important. So speak to our only recourse, I guess, is to educate, is to warn people, is to spread the word like our lives depend on it. With the articles at Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, Global Research has done a huge compendium article that's incredibly good. We've got linked up on Infowars.com. So, A, educate everybody. We've got a fighting chance. B, I have the Washington Post buried in an article. Paul Watson's doing a story on it saying, oh, yeah, these flu shots have high levels of mercury. They've lied in the past and said they've taken the mercury out. Another lie. So speak to getting the word out and waking people up. And then the mercury angle.
Well, getting the word out is what I keep telling everybody they have to do. And everybody says, well, I don't know who I should talk to. Talk to everybody. I have a stack of flyers that I carry around with me in my purse and in the back of my car because I take them into everywhere. I say, here, and I've gone down the street by where my office is, and I've stopped with these flyers. It's the truth about the flu shot, and you can get it off of my website, and it's all over the internet. And I don't even engage it with them in conversation. I just walk in and say, good morning, good afternoon, how are you? Here's some information I think you might be an interest in looking at, and turn around and walk out. So you don't have to stand there and debate anybody. And the worst that's going to happen is nothing. They throw it in the trash. But you never know whose hands that might end up in that might really make a difference. Your police department, your first responders, your sheriff, all these people need to know that you don't want this and that they may not even know what's going to be injected into their body. And once they know it, they might say, well, you know what? I don't want this either. And suddenly you've got an entire community that's going to rally around. So when the FEMA trucks come driving down your street and to look for people who haven't been vaccinated, you've got a community that's going to bond together and resist.
Well said. I want you to get into the mercury, but before we do that, expanding on what you're saying, printing up a nice flyer, using your flyer, printing up Prison Planet articles, Global Research articles, whatever. There's a lot of good boil downs out there. Our story about FEMA, the flu, FEMA, martial law, mass graves, that has a nice boil down of facts. People are really interested in the flu right now. They instinctively know something's wrong, something doesn't add up. They are begging for this information. Go to Kinko's or FedExO's or whatever it's called now, and for $100 you could print up 5,000 one or two sheets. For $20 you can print up thousands. Get it out to people, and that's a child, a woman, a man that isn't going to be getting that onset of Parkinson's at 25, that onset of these brain disorders, people getting Alzheimer's at 40 now, all tied to the vaccines. Go ahead.
Yeah, and dementia and all, because that's really what's happening. We light up the immune systems in the brain, and it causes them to deteriorate. And that's why we're seeing so many young people now with ADD, ADHD, all the adults with ADHD, all the things that we can label them with so that we can give them more psychotropic drugs like Effexor and Paxil and all of these things. I think that, I've said for years, Alex, that I think that the vaccine industry is really the economic loss leader of the entire pharmaceutical industry. It's, it's the idea that of a loss leader is you come into my store, I'll give you a free T-shirt, and oh, by the way, while you're here, spend a couple $100. So the economic loss leader of being vaccines is I'll give you this shot. It doesn't really cost me a whole lot of money, even though it is a $10 billion a year industry, but that's a pittance compared to other things. I'll give you the shot under the umbrella of keeping you healthy. We got to keep these kids from getting sick. And oh, by the way, I'll make hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars on all the drugs I need to sell you down the line after you're sick from what we've given you through these shots.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They make them approve other drugs. Even if they approve something bad down the road, the truth comes out. Vaccines are not held to the same standard. They can kill whoever they want, hurt whoever they want, because it's proprietary and very secretive what's really in it. It's the perfect cover for the soft kill. It's the perfect cover for the sterilization. The UN's been caught, as you know, adding the female hormone to the tetanus shot that then sterilized the women, only in a program for women that was pushed as feminism. Oh, we're only helping women, and because that weapon wouldn't have hurt a man. It was designed for a woman. I mean, this is diabolical, and the way they want to set the precedent to put in our body what they want when they want. You know about all these new live viral vaccines that are really live action genetic engineer operations. I've had top genetic engineers on with the, quote, vaccine that cures you from cocaine or nicotine or heroin addiction. And it's a live virus that goes in and attacks the receptors in the brain, creating plaques so you can't absorb the drug, which also then blocks your endorphins. But don't worry, they've got a drug to then treat that. Can you speak to those classes of things called vaccines that are really nanobot, genetically engineered viral weapons?
Yeah, they are. That's really, you summed it up really well, Alex. And they are DNA vaccines that are coming down the pike, and now they're talking about edible vaccines, that there's vaccines that are going to be in potatoes and carrots. There's a vaccine that they have considered doing in Africa that is spread by mosquitoes. I mean, it gets
That's Bill Gates.
It gets more like a grade B sci-fi movie all the time. And it would be really kind of funny if it wasn't so diabolical.
Well, that's Bill Gates, the eugenicist, who now they've total given over $100 billion. I was saying 80-something billion. It's gone up. Him and Warren Buffett, they're all supporting Planned Parenthood. Bill Gates' daddy runs Planned Parenthood. They're openly, and he's like, I want to release mosquitoes to give you an HIV cure. And I mean, my God, doctor, this is pretty obvious what's going on.
You would think that by now, Alex, from everything that people have been saying, that there would be nobody left who would believe that vaccines are safe, they protect you, they're harmless, and they're good for you. But we've got multi-generational